Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at another of these Jurassic World Live Tour figures. This one is Velociraptor Blue. This one specifically is different from all the others because all of the others have that very soft-like feeling similar to a Recur or the National Geographic figures, whereas this one does not. This one is actually a very hard plastic similar to probably like Papo and Safari LTD type figures. It's not squishy, it's not really bendable or anything. I mean, you can move the tail a little bit, but it's nothing in comparison to the others. So it's very unique in the way that it's made differently than all of the other figures. However, I think that this blue is incredible looking. The paint application is, it's alright. It leaves a little to be desired, I will say that. But I think the sculpt is incredibly well done. Pretty much spot on to Velociraptor Blue. So to prove that point and to show you guys just how nice this figure is, let's get a closer look at it right now. So starting up with the head sculpt, you can see how beautifully done the sculpting of the head is as far as the very minute detailing goes, like this scoot type appearance of the scaling that runs along the border of the palate and up over the eyebrow is incredibly well done, along with these very nice scoots up here on the center of the head. Beautiful as far as the sculpt work goes, and even the detailing of the face in general has such incredibly well done skin texture, along with just in general the head sculpt really resembling Blue from the film. I think they nailed the sculpt of this. It is absolutely beautiful as far as a Blue Velociraptor goes. Nice hanging skin in the throat. You can see the teeth are very nicely sculpted as well. Beautifully painted. There's no real sloppiness or anything to them. It does kind of appear that the lower jaw of mine is slightly to the left, more so than it should be on the figure, and I thought maybe that was limited to mine, but my son actually got the same figure while we were there, and his looks the same, so I think that's kind of a widespread issue. I don't really mind it too much because it's not incredibly noticeable unless you look at it straight from the front. You can see the tongue is up in a very cool looking position. It looks to be nicely sculpted, really beautifully painted. The overall appearance of all of these figures really appear to have been carefully painted because they actually have a lot of very nice paint application. Like the nails are really well done. You don't see any sloppiness in the eyes or anything. And speaking of the eyes, you can see the eyes are a yellowish color. You've got that slit-like appearance to the pupil like you normally do with most of Jurassic Park Velociraptors, along with a nice white spot there too, sort of make it look like it has a glossy type of a look. Really nicely sculpted nostrils, beautiful detailing all over around the eye. I think they did a great job there. You can almost take note of the ear back here as well. They also did a good job on the blue stripe. Not so much the appearance of it, but it does come kind of around the eye and borders around the eye on this side, but stops short on this side, which is exactly what you do actually see on Velociraptor Blue in the film. As you start to run down the neck, you can see some very nice skin folds, skin wrinkles the whole way down, lots of creases in the skin, and the figure in general is primarily this nice dark gray, actually similar to the Triceratops. It's been dry brushed with a light gray to bring the detail out all really nicely. I think that looks quite well done, and they actually included even these osteoderms up here on the neck, which is something that is definitely a telltale sign of Velociraptor Blue. It's something that she does sport in the films, so it's nice that they didn't really skimp out anywhere on this as far as the sculpt goes. When you come down into the body, you can see some really nice fine scaling right there. Beautiful musculature here in the arms. Really nicely sculpted Velociraptor Blue arms. They look perfect. Really well done hands. And again, the nails are painted. They look really good. No sloppiness. As we come up into the body, you can kind of see some wrinkling going on here. Some skin stretching and folding where the position of the legs would be pulling the skin, and I think that looks really nice. Beautiful skin detailing once again. And you can see that the spinal column of the animal is really nicely portrayed up here on the top of the figure. Beautiful hip bone kind of protruding from the skin a little bit there, and along with the very nice muscle tone right here. Beautiful calf muscles right there as well. You've got the very nicely sculpted kneecaps and really well done foot sculpts, I will say. Aside from the fact that the sickle claw kind of looks like it's a little too far out from the body, I feel like it should be resting next to the toes. So aside from that, I think the feet look great. Beautifully painted nails. And then when we come up here, you can see some nice wrinkling here behind the leg. Beautiful detailing actually in the back of the thigh and the back of the leg as well. Even the dew claws are present, which is really cool. and they're painted, which is also awesome. And then you can see that the rest of the detailing the whole way out of the tail looks great. Very nice creases and nice skin texture the entire way out. You can see that in general, this is really beautifully sculpted. The blue does look alright. It looks good enough to be Velociraptor blue, but they didn't include any kind of like a white outline or anything, and there's a lot of paint variation throughout the body of the actual dinosaur in the film, like kind of grays and whites and stuff that you don't see on this figure. But this isn't meant to be any kind of an incredibly highly detailed model of Velociraptor blue. It's just a very cool figure that is available at the live show. There is one downside I will say to the figure, then that's these seams. You can see that the seams are definitely very visible. You've got one here in the stomach that connects the body to the hip area. You've got one right here. You've also got the arm seam. So they are very visible, which, like I said, is a little bit of a downside, but for the most part, I don't really mind it. Some people may take issue with it, but me personally, I don't really care. As far as the body, it's really in a very neutral position. So the sculpt on this side looks pretty much just the same as it did on the other side, so we don't really have to take a very nice look at this side or anything, because overall I think it looks pretty much the same as it does on the other side. You've got the very nice Jurassic World logo there on the bottom, some beautiful detailing on the underside as well. So this is one heck of an awesome Velociraptor blue figure. With the figure you also get the very cool tag that does state that it is the Jurassic World live tour. I fully intend on keeping those on my figures just because of the collectability factor of these being from the live show. I love the tags being included. As far as a size goes on blue, from the tail to the head, you're looking at about 10.5 inches, or about 26.5, almost 27 centimeters, maybe about 27 actually, and about 5 inches in height, or about 12.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex. This should give you a pretty good idea that this Velociraptor blue is actually quite nicely sized. It is definitely not a small figure, and as far as a blue goes, it's pretty decently sized. It's probably a good bit bigger than a Attack Pack from Mattel, but not too much bigger. And to show you another size comparison, actually with another Jurassic World live figure, there is blue with the Triceratops, so we can definitely see that as far as being to scale, that is not the case here with blue at all. Blue is much larger than she should be in comparison to a Triceratops, but this should probably give you a good idea of the size of both of these figures. So this Velociraptor blue from the Jurassic World live tour is awesome. I really am quite the big fan of the figure overall. I think as far as the likeness of blue, they 100% nailed this in every possible way. I love that they kept it as accurate as they possibly could, even including those osteoderms on the neck, which I feel like are a pretty decent trademark of blue. They kept them, they actually sculpted those out and everything. The blue stripe is not that good. It's really quite sloppy and just kind of, I think, is put there just to make sure that you know that it is in fact blue. However, I think the sculpting really makes up for the lack of good paint on the figure. And it's not to say that the paint is bad, because certain areas like the toenails, the claws, the teeth, and the tongue and everything, the eyes, they're all beautifully painted. Picture perfect in my opinion. It's just that that blue stripe, I think, could have been better had it actually had the white outline and looked a little more accurate, but they did at least do a good job of making sure that it ends at the correct length on one side and goes over the eye on the opposing side, and again, both on the actual correct sides that they are placed. So they did do a good job in certain aspects of the paint job, and then a little bit of a lazy job in other aspects. But considering this is just a very cool figure at the Jurassic World live show, I don't expect it to be absolutely excellent and beautifully detailed like a very high quality model would, but at the same time, as far as the sculpt goes, it is off the charts beautiful as far as looking like Velociraptor blue. Such an incredibly cool figure. And again, at the live show, it's awesome to have these exclusives to the show. If you are going to have Jurassic World live show near you at all, I highly recommend checking out the show because it is actually a ton of fun. But specifically, just to get these figures alone, because they are definitely worth the trip in their own right. And then you also get the extras of actually seeing the show. So again, if the show is coming to your area, make sure you head there, pick up this incredibly awesome Velociraptor blue. But before you take off and go watch the show, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.